Hola. Hello, and welcome to the Home Record Podcast. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion. I'm joined, as always, by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife, Monique. Monique, how are you doing today?
I am just fabulous, thank you.
Fabulous.
Yes.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing fantastic as always. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. Excellent. I was getting there.
Where are you now?
I was pulling at you where you stop
Grief.
and you pause and you wait and you feel like something needs to fill in the time.
Pulling a me.
Yes.
That's what you call that?
Yes.
Pulling a me?
I was pulling at you.
Boy, unbelievable. You're unbelievable.
I know I am. Like the EMF song.
Yes. Just like the EMF song. Exactly that one.
It's a catchy little ditty.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. It is. It's a great song. So what's new with you, my lady?
Oh, I've been super busy. I have been making lots of orgonite, which has been super fun and awesome. And I have been working in our garden. And just yesterday, I harvested some of the herbs that I've been growing. And we have different herbs and weeds in our yard that can be harvested for medicinal uses. So I got some of those.
Yes, I have had to put off mowing the grass because there's all these weeds that you can use for medicinal purposes that to me look like weeds. I don't know what they are, but you know, so I haven't been able to cut the grass until you were waiting for these things to grow to an acceptable height for harvesting. So I finally today was able to cut the grass after having waited, it seems like, forever now. But it's been just a couple weeks.
But I got a bunch of white clover and chickweed, and there's dandelion and plantain and all this good stuff.
Again, this is your wheelhouse. I know nothing about any of this stuff. I just trust your expertise on it.
You just do what I tell you to do, don't you?
Wow. Well, okay then.
You say that with love,
Right.
like in a good way, because you trust me.
Okay. Yes. So I don't know what any of this stuff does. To me, it looks like weeds. I would have mowed it all, but you wouldn't let me. So
They're treasures.
Now-
They're nature's little treasures right in our yard.
all right. Well, again, to the untrained eye, they look the same to me. It looks like just green weeds mixed in with our grass that never been able to get to grow. We've tried seeding it, watering it. You know, the stuff you normally do with grass. But
I tried yelling at it and kicking it, and it didn't work.
I realized the absurdity after I said it. But no, I really have. For the first couple of years that we lived here, tried everything with the grass. And we got a new neighbor that moved in a couple of years back, and he came over and tried doing a bunch of stuff to the grass. Like, he'd come over and put like his special seeding and all this stuff, and nothing seems to work on our grass.
I didn't put orgonite on our front yard. Maybe that's what I need to do.
Yeah, well, short of that, we've tried pretty much everything, and I've just given up. That would just... It is what it is.
I want to dig it all up, and I want to plant clover. Just a whole bunch of clover in the front yard.
All right, then.
Because the clover itself doesn't get super high, and it's like soft. It's nice.
Right. Okay. If you say so. I like the look of grass, the feel of grass, but clover, I guess.
It's green.
You say so. Maybe that's the route we're gonna have to go. I don't know. What else is going on aside from your gardening and orgonite? Anything else happening?
We watched some movies.
Yeah, what did we watch?
We watched Stay Tuned with John Ritter. That movie is so great.
Yeah, it was
Yep, we did that for a family movie night. That movie was made in 1992, I believe.
correct. Yeah, I believe it was 92.
And Jeffrey Jones is in it.
Jeffrey Jones, who's that?
The principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was in Transylvania 65000.
Oh,
He's
okay,
in a bunch
yes,
of
all
stuff.
right, okay.
Red hair.
Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah,
was
what
Spike.
you said. Yeah. There's a bunch of people in it. Eugene
Oh, yeah.
Levy's in it.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper. Yeah.
How could I forget Salt and Pepper? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was. I'd never seen it before, You had, I guess, when it first came out or something, right?
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Because my parents owned a video store.
Right, of course. How could we forget?
In case
You'll
you
never let us
forgot.
forget that, ever.
So many awesome movies I've
But
seen.
yeah, I mean, even the kids enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was a, I guess you call it a period piece because
Yeah.
everything that happened in that movie was current for the time.
Well, because if you haven't watched it, first of all, go watch it. But it's about, like, basically hell has a TV station, essentially, where they have their own programming. So, like, Dwayne's Underworld, or trying to think of everything now.
Dwayne's Underworld instead of Wayne's World.
Yes.
Probably should give some.
Here I am thinking everyone's seen Wayne's
you're
World.
Just saying it. You're just saying like people know what you're talking about. You have to give some context, my lady.
Okay. Well, I'm just, again, in my mind, everyone should know what Wayne's World is. I forget how old I am.
Our kids didn't know what Wayne's World was.
That's totally on us. They should know.
And they probably never will.
Oh, they will. We'll watch
Those
it.
movies were ridiculous.
Swing.
Eh,
So good.
no.
Yes.
No.
Yes, it's so good. But yeah, a lot of it centers around like programming from like the very, very early 90s, more like the 80s and before. So.
Yes. So we'll finish the synopsis.
So I wasn't giving a synopsis.
Well, you said, well, hell has its own TV station,
Yeah.
and then
so they go to people
Wayne's
who they
Underworld
want.
Instead of
They go to lazy people who just want to watch TV all day and say, "Hey, got this satellite dish with this big TV, and it's all yours." And they get zapped into the TV, and they go on these shows. And basically, once they die, they go to hell. It's fun for the whole family.
It was a fun movie. Yeah, PG, kind of a lot of heavy stuff in there.
But a lot of it goes over kids' heads.
It did. Yes. Our children had no clue what they were talking about, and that's fine. There was still enough in there, though, that would make them laugh and keep them entertained and occupied, I guess.
But if you know TV shows from like the late 80s and early 90s,
yeah, it was.
It makes more sense.
There was a lot of laugh out loud moments for me.
Like driving over Miss Daisy instead of driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, yes.
There was like 30-something to life instead of 30-something is about they're in prison. Northern overexposure instead of northern exposure.
Yes.
So, yeah, good stuff. But I don't want to say it all because I want people to watch it.
Sure. Yeah, check it out, I guess. There's the movie recommendation from us.
Yeah.
I suppose.
You look so excited about it.
It was funny. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest movie ever or anything, but it was alright, I guess. Sure.
Alright then.
We watched a bunch of stuff like this last week, so we went on like this movie watching spree.
I think we've been on an Adam Sandler kick.
Yeah.
I love Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah, we watched, oh jeez.
Grown Ups?
It was like this week, and I can't remember already. Grown Ups.
Uh-huh.
The one with Jennifer Aniston. What's it called?
Just Go With It.
Just Go With It.
Mm-hmm.
Which has a special place for us because that was the movie that was on all the time in the hotel in the Bahamas when we went and got married. That movie was on every channel.
It's a good movie.
And it was on like a loop because it must have been like the hotel pay-per-view channel or something. Yeah. So that was fun to see again.
And
All
again.
these years.
And again.
Mr. Deeds.
Yes, we watched
Mr.
Mr.
Deeds.
Deeds. Very good.
What else did we see? I don't know. We watched a bunch of stuff.
Here Comes the Boom.
And Here Comes the Boom. Was Adam Sandler? He wasn't in that though.
It wasn't a Happy Madison production.
I think it was like his production company did it, but it wasn't him. He wasn't in it.
No.
Right. That was a good film. Film. What? Wow.
See, words are hard.
Anyway, yeah, words are tough. Words are difficult. Now, speaking of Adam Sandler, kind of something I pitched to you earlier today about what we were going to talk about today, talking about random acts of kindness. Right?
That's my
There's
jam.
so much, obviously, depending on when you're listening to this, we're recording it on June 7th. So, Lord only knows what will have happened between the time we record this and the time you're listening to it. But it's been pretty crazy the past few weeks. And if you pay attention at all and think critically for yourself, you know that it's all been in place for a while. None of this is just accidental or whatever. It's all by design. But anyway, we're in a state of chaos right now. If you watch the news, if you look outside your door, though, like we look outside, everything seems normal to us here.
Yes, we're very lucky that we're in a place that
thankfully
is stable.
So far, thus far, I don't know how long that'll last, but hopefully it
Hopefully
stays
it
like
will.
this forever. Hopefully, but anyhow, yeah, there's a lot of unrest in society now, and like I've started like slowly. I think I'm gonna. I mentioned this on a previous show. I'm probably gonna just get off social media altogether because there's nothing good ever anymore. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if we talked about just random acts of kindness and talk about something a little different today. Not talk about all the chaos and all the horrible things going on in the world. Let's talk about just the nice stuff that we're observing. And I mean, like anytime. We could talk about stuff we've done, I guess, if you want to go down that road. I don't really like to glorify things that I've ever done, but things maybe that have been done to us or that we've witnessed other people do for somebody, and you thought that was a good idea.
I love random acts of kindness.
Yeah,
that is like what I am all about.
Yeah,
That's what I always try to say to people.
Yeah.
Just be kind and do nice things for other people.
Yeah. It's just, why not? So I figured, well, why don't we talk about that?
Yeah.
And for anybody that just maybe wants just something different to listen to, this hopefully will give you that. Just to get a little bit of an escape from all the doom and gloom that you're seeing everywhere else or hearing everywhere else. And that does have its place, of course. It's good to be aware of what's happening in the world around you, but it's also good to know that you can put out some good stuff to counteract that doom and gloom.
Put out some positive energy.
Yeah. You gotta talk right to your mic.
I put the mic closer to me
You
and
gotta
then
go
he bumped
right
into it.
Yeah, you got to. Because you're cutting it.
Why?
For anybody listening, I've got the headphones in so I can hear how everything is getting inputted into the. Yeah, you trail back and forth. Right on that damn thing.
Right.
Make love to the microphone. Make
I'm gonna
love
start
to it.
eating it in a moment.
Fine, whatever it takes. Anyhow, so speaking of Adam Sandler and a random act of kindness. So anybody that doesn't know, Adam Sandler's from Manchester, New Hampshire, which is where I grew up. And my mom's best friend, who I call like my second mom, I'm not going to say her name or anything, but she knows who she is.
And she's an awesome lady.
She's awesome, yeah, she's phenomenal. Well, she works at a restaurant that is close by to here, and it's kind of like a...
It's a popular place,
It's
too.
Yeah, it's like the it spot, I guess, if you will. It's been around for many, many years, and she's a waitress there. And Adam Sandler, who's from here, and his parents, I think, still live here, anytime he's in town to visit his parents, goes to this restaurant. So he happened to be at this restaurant when my second mom, her husband passed away, and we were there at this restaurant on the other side using the function room because they let her use the function room for like the after funeral, what do you call it, like a reception, a meal.
I forget.
I don't know if every...
The mercy meal, I think is what it's called. And I don't know.
See, we don't call it that in Greek Orthodox religion or whatever. It's not called, it's just called, I forget what the Greek word is, but it's essentially it's like a reception meal kind of thing. You go after the funeral and you just eat a meal in memory of the person that you just laid to rest. So we're there, and somebody comes over and gets the widow, I guess, I'm just going to say her name, Tula. Jeez. Her name's Tula. She's a phenomenal woman. And
She's such a little firecracker.
she's so awesome. She's a great lady. And they come and get her because Adam Sandler, every time he goes to the restaurant, he loves her, like, as his waitress. Like, he loves
How
Tula.
can anyone not love her?
Exactly, right.
If you met her, you would understand.
Right, so somebody told her, or excuse me, told him, oh, she's here, but she's actually, her husband passed away, and she's over, actually on the other side of the restaurant. They're having like the reception meal and everything, and so he sent for her to come and see him because he wanted to express his condolences and everything. And I guess he gave her like a lot of cash out of his pocket, like as a kind of like a, I don't know what you call it, but I guess it was like his random act of kindness, I guess. Yeah. So she came back over and she was like crying because we're all like, where'd she go? And she comes back over, she's crying. She's like, "Oh, Adam is here." And we're like, "Adam? Who's Adam? Who's she talking about?" We didn't know. But she's apparently on first name basis with him. And she comes over and she's like, "Yeah, he just gave me all this money." She pulls out this like wad of cash. It's like hundreds and 50s and 20s. And we're just like, "Huh? Like what's weird? What are you talking about? Who is it? Who?" She's like, "Adam, Adam Sandler." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Oh wow, that was really nice." And she's like, "Yeah, he wanted to talk to me and he expressed how gave his condolences and everything and wanted to know if I needed anything and all this stuff." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's really nice." Just a waitress that he likes at a restaurant that he frequents when he's in town. I just thought that was really cool.
That is, and it's funny because I love Adam Sandler. I've watched him since Saturday Night Live back in the 90s, early 90s. And I liked all of his movies. Even Jack and Jill. I know everyone says that's his worst movie ever. I don't care. I think it's a sweet movie. It has a really good point, and I think it's funny. Sometimes you just have to laugh at silly, stupid things. And so then you told me that story, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this guy even more. I just want to like give him a hug. Chris, I want to give everyone a hug.
Yeah, you would give everybody a hug, yeah. But yeah, so I thought that was just a neat kind of thing. And like she'd always talk about how, oh yeah, he was in town or whatever. But she doesn't like name drop him. It's just kind of like one of those like she knows people know who he is and everything. Oh yeah, he just happened to come into my work and whatever the other day, and we were talking and this and that. And I was like, it was really cool because obviously she's sad at the time. She's still obviously sad. This was many, many years ago. And she's mourning. She just buried her husband. And just to see that moment of, well, not moment, but it was a couple of minutes of her just smiling and laughing and like crying, but it was like more tears of just happiness because somebody did something that they didn't have to do. And in that time, it was just really cool to see. So that was just a random act of kindness that, funnily, it just kind of like this all kind of came together like last minute today, just talking about it. But we've been watching all those movies recently, lately. I can't talk. What's wrong with me?
I don't know, honey.
Jeez.
I still love you.
Thank you. And yeah, it happened just to tie into what we're going to talk about today. So kind of a neat story, like I said. And I've heard a lot of good things about him from other people as well. That he graduated from the high school that I went to many years before I did. I think he graduated like 7 or 8 years before me. Mm-hmm. But I have a cousin who was in his graduating class who said he was just always like a class clown. And he was always like a good dude that people like to be around, kind of thing. So it's just cool to see that some people don't let money and fame change them.
You mean he's a good person?
Yeah, and one of the things actually that, and then we'll move off from Adam Sandler talk. But one of the things that I thought was really cool, Tula told me one time that when she'll see his parents that come into the restaurant and everything, they'll talk and whatever. And she said that his parents speak about, because I guess they have 3 children altogether.
Yeah,
he has like a sister and a brother, I believe. And one of them is a dentist, and the other one is maybe a doctor or a lawyer. I don't recall, but she said that they speak about all their children the same. Like they're like proud of all their kids in the same way. It's not like, oh, one of them's a movie star and everybody knows him and loves him and blah blah blah. She said that they speak in equal reverence all their 3 children and how proud they are of all 3 of their children. So I just thought that was really cool. So obviously he comes from a good upbringing, which is very important. So yeah, it's just kind of cool to see. So just thought that was a cool, nice little story.
That is a nice story. Way to warm us up into random acts of kindness discussion.
So let me ask you, I know you have done random acts, you do it all the time. And have you had anything that's been done to you that really left like a memory for you? Like a lasting memory or an impact?
Just anything anyone does that's nice makes an impression on me. One of the biggest things is when somebody holds the door open for me because my hands are full. If I'm walking and my hands are obviously full and you stop and you hold the door open for me, that's huge. It's like the smallest, tiniest little thing. But it makes a difference. And that's why I love doing that for people. Like, I've always said, just be nice, smile at people, say hi, because you don't know what people are going through in their lives. You don't know what kind of day they're having. And we do that as we're out for going for walks. Like, we just walk by, hi, how are you? And, like, the thing that I love the most is when they say hi back. Like, sometimes people just walk by, like, you smile, hi, and they just ignore you, and that's on them. But when people, like, genuinely are nice, and they're like, oh, hi, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good, how are you? It just makes me all excited, and I tell people to have a great day. What?
Nothing.
It makes me feel good.
What about, has anybody ever done anything for you or to you personally that left some kind of a lasting impact? Aside from just saying hi or holding the door open, has anybody ever done anything like really...
Like huge?
I don't. Well, I mean, huge is subjective. I mean, huge could be opening the door when your hands are full because you really needed it at that moment. But I mean, like, is there anything, like a specific example you want to share?
Like a random act of kindness that I'm aware of.
Yes, you would have to be aware of it for it to count.
Let me recall. I've
I'm
had
sure
a
there's
very
tons
long,
that happen that
fulfilling life.
I'm sure there's a lot of times people have done things that you weren't aware of, but those don't count because you don't know about them. So
True. That's the other thing. I like to do things and not say, like, oh, I don't want them to know it's me. Because it's nice. I don't know. And I'm trying, okay, back to people doing something nice for me.
Yeah. Talk right into that microphone, would you?
I'm sorry.
I'm not editing this.
I move when I talk. I talk with my hands. I talk with my head.
That's great. You can move everywhere except from away from your microphone. And I'm not editing it. I'm
going to try to, like,
so everybody
keep
can
my
know how
head
many times I have to
still
admonish you about talking properly into the mic. Gosh.
I'm like the horses that need blinders that just kind of keep them focused in a
Talking to your bike
direction.
woman.
Oh, good Lord, I'm trying. I'm trying.
All right, come on.
Okay.
You gotta have something.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go back to, like, big events. An act of kindness. I don't have anything, like, monumentally huge. I think because, like, I like being the person doing things, but I feel weird when people do things for me. Which is weird, but yeah, it's just like, let me do the nice things and just leave me alone.
So nothing. You can't think of anything at all.
Not huge.
Okay, small then. Aside from opening the door.
Aside from opening the door.
Yeah.
Okay, just people smiling, being nice.
This is going to be a 25-minute show because Monique has absolutely nothing to add.
No, I'm just trying
to a show about random acts of kindness.
Because, like,
it is totally.
But you're asking me. I can tell you what I do for people. Like, people all the time will come up to me and.
I'm asking about you. Stop changing the subject. Come on, you gotta have something. As the motorcycles flare off in the background here.
It's nice out. It's got uncloudy.
Wow.
Okay, why don't you tell us about something someone's done for you while I think?
We always do that. Fine, not a problem. I have one. Back in 2001, I was going to leave for... Oh, wow.
I remembered something, but go on.
Okay. I was wrestling on my last show before leaving for Puerto Rico to do a tour of Puerto Rico. And I was given a large sum of money by somebody as a wish or a token of good luck. Somebody in the wrestling business, who I'm not going to name because he didn't want to be named then. He wanted it to be, he didn't want me to tell anybody that, so I'm not going to say it now. I'll tell you later off air, but yeah, I thought it was really cool. I was just like,
how much money?
It was a significant amount of money.
So you don't want to say?
I'll tell you off air.
Oh, okay.
It was a good amount of money, especially for a 20-year-old kid who had nothing.
Nice.
And was going to a new place with nothing to wrestle. Yeah. Gave me a good chunk of change to kind of stay on my feet for a little while. And I was just like floored. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, it had an impact on me. And it was really cool.
So after that happened, did that change your way of thinking about doing nice things for other people?
No, not really. I mean, I've always kind of believed in the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And in wrestling, it's a very selfish, especially if you're trying to get ahead. It's not like a team, like a baseball team or a football team. It's an individual type of sport, profession, business, whatever you want to call it. So it's very cutthroat, and not many people are about helping each other out because you are vying for the same positions essentially.
Makes sense.
Especially back then. It may have changed a bit now, but back then especially there was only a certain amount of positions and jobs and that kind of thing. So it was very surprising to me that this happened, but the person that did this for me also told me that he knew I was a good kid, because I was a kid. I'm 20 years old, a kid. He's like, I know you're a good kid. I know that you're deserving and you're going to do good things. And you've always been very respectful, regardless of how anybody's been to you, because this was a place where I had some trying times, not by any of my own doing. I'll explain to you later about it. And he said that I always handled myself professionally, and that he could tell I was a very good person, and that I deserved it. And I was just, like I said, I was floored. I refused it at first, and he was very insistent. And I said, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I a couple tears came down, because it was like one of those things like, I never would have asked for this. I never would have seen it coming. So yeah, it was very impactful for me, and it did. It really, it kind of renewed my faith in people in the wrestling business, I guess.
Aww.
Because at that point, I had a couple of wake up calls, and I'd been beat up quite a few times just by people that were taking advantage of the trust that I was giving them in the ring, just for things like jealousy and just ridiculous stuff, petty stuff when you look back on it. So yeah, it kind of made me optimistic again. It kind of got my spirits back up a little bit. So
That's really nice.
yeah, it was really cool. I'll tell you all about it, like I said, later on.
I
hate to boob all the audience
and
and not tell anybody about it, but
I was going to say, you never told me about this, so this is yet another thing you've kept from me.
jeez.
And that's why sugar got dumped all over you.
We're going to go back to that now, are we?
Nope. Just,
Like, it's like I'm keeping things from you intentionally.
I know.
But anyway, yeah. So it was a very nice thing, like
That's
I said.
really sweet.
Just because, still out of respect to this person, who I haven't spoken to in many, many years, but just out of respect to them, I'm not going to say who they were or the amount of money they gave me. Here, I'll let you know after.
Okay. I'll totally forget by the time we're done recording.
Fair enough, and I'll probably forget to tell you, so.
I remembered something.
Nice.
I started kind of remembering little bits and things. So, I don't know what year it was, but I was a teenager. I think I might have been 17 years old. I was driving a 1989 Dodge Shadow. I think that was the car I had. And I was at the Elvis Room in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And the Elvis Room was like a bar and a club where they had bands play. And there's a band from New Hampshire called The Queers. And yeah, they're like this awesome pop punk band. And they're just really cool. And I used to go see them all the time. They play around Boston. I go to New Hampshire because I enjoyed their band. So one night after a show, I go to my car and it won't start. And I'm like, what's the matter? And my friend who was with me was like, I think the battery's dead. And I'm like, how could the battery die? And then I realized because I left my lights on, the headlights, I forgot to turn them off. Because cars in 1989 didn't have automatic headlights. So you had to turn those suckers on and off. So group of guys come by and they're like, hey, are you okay? Because there's a parking area and it's basically empty because everyone's gone by this point. And I was like, my car's dead. And so they came over and they jump started my car, and it was the Queers. It was like the band, and I was like, oh my gosh, the Queers are jump starting my car. This is really cool. And then I'm driving home and I'm like creating a song in my head called "You Jump Started My Car and Jump Started My Heart," and it was like pop punk, kind of catchy. Yeah.
Do you remember any of the words?
it was just kind of like, you jump-started my car, jump-started my heart. Like that kind of melody, but I don't remember anything else. But yeah, so that is for you, Joe Queer. Because that's what bands did. They took the name of their band and had their first name. They locked it together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. They helped you out.
Yeah. I would have been stuck in Portsmouth all night if they didn't.
How many people do you see now that break down on the side of the road and they're just there? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of sad to think about it, because now, in the way the society is, especially lately, you're very untrusting. And I think with the help of Hollywood and movies and stuff like that, and you see different things where it's somebody that's in distress and a good Samaritan will pull over and they get taken advantage of because the person's not really in distress, and they end up kidnapping them or robbing them or hurting them or
but
something.
not just that, but if you're broken down and somebody approaches you, that can be scary, because you're like, oh, some stranger,
Right.
They see that I'm in distress, that I can't go anywhere. So it's on both sides.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop me. I've like pulled up and rolled my window down and been like, do you need me to call somebody for you? And
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going to help people. But if I can see they're obviously on their cell phone and they can...
They've already called
Yeah.
somebody, or they're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I can remember there's several times where when I was at my one of my previous jobs and I was driving around the company vehicle, would always stop me and ask, hey, can you give me a jump? Can I get a ride to the... So, and I'd have to be like, no, can't, because I couldn't put anybody in my vehicle. Feel bad, because they obviously, you could tell they're stuck, they need help, but I just, for the sake of my job and keeping my job, I couldn't help them. I felt horrible about it. I'd always offer, hey, do you need to use my phone? I'll use my phone real quick if you want, but I can't give you a ride. I can't let you in my car. I can't give you a jump. I'm not allowed to do any of that. You know, our vehicles are GPS, all that kind of thing. And it just, if anybody saw me with somebody, I would easily lose my job. So it was kind of one of those things where I felt horrible that I couldn't help somebody, and I was in a position where I could, but at a cost of losing my job and, you know, a way of providing for my family. So, yeah.
Well, that makes sense if it's a company vehicle.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised at how many people thought that and I'm not going to say the company, but just thought that because, oh, it's this so-and-so company, they'll help me. Like, no, that's...
Rules are there for a reason.
Can't, unfortunately. Yeah. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So, what about, so you thought of an instance where somebody did something nice, that's good, random act of kindness. But is that really a random act of kindness, though? I mean, you were kind of in need. So somebody saw that you were...
They totally could have left me there.
They could have.
They could have been like, oh, you're broken down, sucks for you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to discount what they did, but is it really random if they see that you're in need of help? Isn't that
that was an act of kindness.
Isn't that just kind of being a good Samaritan?
Okay, that was an act of kindness.
I'm not trying to downplay it or discount it in any way. But has there ever been anybody that just randomly did something for no reason at all? Like, you didn't need anything. You were surprised by their kindness when they didn't have to be kind.
I suck at on the spot thinking. Like, if you put me on the spot and you say, Monique, what's 2 + 2? I'll be like, I don't know. I can't think. So I have to think about it. You'll start talking, and then I'll think of something.
I'm trying not to talk. I'm trying to let you talk as much as possible now.
You know what's so funny? So
tell me, what's so funny?
One of the things that I'm trying to release, I'm trying to release all that doesn't serve me, and that's talking too much. So, knowing when to shut up, not to talk if there's no need for talking, to just shut up and be able to do that. Because I always feel like I have to keep going and explain, especially when people look at you like they're waiting for something. Yeah, so I'm working on that, trying to talk less. Excellent for podcasting.
I was just going to say that will serve you well in real life, but on a podcast,
No,
where people are listening for you to talk.
I meant in day-to-day life.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So nothing. You can't think of anything else. All right. And again, this is not to say that we're these awesome people or anything, but because this is a show about that, and it's good to give examples of things. Give me an example of a random act of kindness that you've done for somebody.
Oh, I love to just bake things for people and bring it to them for whatever reason. I've never had a ton of money, rich, where I can just be oh, here's a lot of cash to somebody. But I've definitely I think if I were rich, I'd totally be poor because I give all my money away. But no, just baking things for people because I don't really have money to give, so I do stuff like that. Let me think. People who look I don't know if it's random, but when people look like they're in need, I go help them. Especially old people at supermarkets, they always ask me for help. And of course, I could be no, I don't work here. But they're old, so I help them, and it's nice. Even if they weren't old, I'd probably help them if somebody asked me for help. But it's little things like that, not even necessarily random, just acts of kindness, being kind.
I agree. I think it's kind of sad too when you see that people are unwilling to help the elderly because, newsflash, eventually you're going to be elderly and you're going to need help. So karma's a son of a bitch.
Coming faster than you think.
And it'll get you back.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what I want to say. It's a phenomenon that's in this country, nursing homes and stuff like that. Just happened here. I don't think they really do that in other countries and other cultures. So essentially, it's kind of a United States thing, which is kind of sad.
I flat out told my parents, "You're never going in a nursing home. When you can't take care of yourselves anymore, you are moving in with us, and we're going to take care of you."
Yeah, I'll co-sign that
Yeah.
right now. And the same thing goes for mine as well. I don't want to put my parents through that. That just stinks.
Yeah.
And really think about it circle of life. They give birth to you, they raise you, they teach you the ways of the world. Whether or not you decide to go on with their methodologies, up to you when you're of age. But when it's time for them to kind of be on the tail end of their lives and they're starting to wind down and they're maybe degrading physically, do you really want to put them in the hands of a complete stranger who's getting paid minimum wage?
And there are some great places with great people.
Oh, there is. There is. A good family friend of ours, who I'll mention, I'll tell you later, but has worked in nursing homes and is a manager of a nursing home and great guy. And my brother actually worked for him and told me, yeah, no, they actually do things really well there. They really care about the people and they really take care of them and stuff.
But there are some places that
it's that's kind of the exception, not the rule, from a lot of stories of the year and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I'm really surprised at the culture here as far as
I think
it relates to elderly folks.
If you look at it, a lot of people can't take care of their parents because they work.
True. Very true.
So you have that issue. So if you're at work all the time, and we're in a day where everyone has to work all the time in order to pay for their home, to pay for their vehicle, their food, everything. There are a lot of people working 2-3 jobs. So that makes it difficult to take care of somebody.
I guess so. Yeah. I think collectively, that on top of everything else that needs to be addressed, it's kind of something else I think we really need to look at. It's just caring better for. It's one thing if you're elderly and you don't have family, but if you have family and they're putting you in a nursing home. Yeah, obviously there are challenges that happen with elderly, especially with things like dementia, for instance, things like that. Of course, yes, it's challenging, but think about it. You were challenging when you were a baby. You were keeping them up all night, crying.
As a toddler, getting into things you shouldn't, almost setting the house on fire. It's circle of life. It comes back all the way around. Yeah.
So, kind of one of those things that, especially a lot lately, I've been thinking about, and just we're not subjecting our folks to that. Absolutely not. No way. Even if they're insistent, no, we're insistent. You're coming with us. Yeah. That's it. We'll figure it
whether
out.
you like it or not.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Because no way.
Another thing too is neighbors. Remember when like everyone knew their neighbors?
Yeah.
And now everyone's so like inside their homes and privacy, and nobody really, it seems like a lot of people don't talk to their neighbors. Remember like block parties? People would have block parties. Now I grew up in the middle of nowhere. We only had a couple neighbors, so there were no block parties because
There was a couple when I was
that.
growing up.
Yeah.
There were a couple here and
We
there.
need to bring that back.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, our neighbor, like I said, he would come over and just like seed our grass.
Just awesome.
Great guy.
Oh yeah.
And like, there would be times where we're sitting watching TV or something and hear a lawnmower, and our property's pretty. They're right next to each other essentially. So I'll be thinking, oh yeah, he's out cut his grass, and then it sounds like the lawnmower sounds really close. And you look outside, he's mowing our grass. Like what?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man? Like open the door, wave hello, thank you, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cool stuff like that. I mean, nobody asked him to do that, but he does it. I mean, we always reciprocate in one way or another. But yeah, it's just kind of cool. Those are the kind of things that it's like you don't have to do that,
Yeah.
but why not?
Yeah.
It's just kind of just a good way to be, I guess.
Like that's the thing. We know the people who live around us, the guy who lives behind us. We know the other person next to us. We have no one across the street from us, but we try to get to know the people in our neighborhood, and that's important.
Yeah. Was it? I think my brother was telling me when they first moved into his house, they baked cookies and took cookies to everyone on their street, just kind of introduce themselves and everything like that. And I mean, it's great, especially think about what's going on in the world now. It's more important than ever to be close with your neighbors because if heaven forbid, we get to a situation where unfortunately everything gets shut down again and grocery stores are shut down. Well, if you've got no food or water, maybe your neighbor will help you out, and, give you something. You know what I mean? Or maybe you have something that they need and they have something you need. You can barter and that kind of thing. It's important to be close to the people around you because sometimes you need each other. It's a necessity. When I was growing up, my mom and dad used to tell me stories about their parents, so my grandparents, and how they would be in their small village in Greece. And I think that a lot of my, I don't know if you call it hospitality, or a lot of the things that I think and try to practice came from hearing those stories. I think it might just be genetic, I don't know. But anytime a stranger would come into the village where my grandfather, my mom's dad, lived, he would take them from the coffee house, because there would always be like this, in these little towns in Greece, they always have the coffee house where everybody congregates. Essentially all the guys congregate there, smoke cigarettes, play cards, drink coffee. And anytime a stranger would come in, he would say, hey, you come with me, and he'd take them, he'd bring them home, and he'd have his wife make him a meal, wash his clothes for him, and would kick one of the kids out of bed and give him a bed, just to be hospitable. The kids would share with one of their brothers and sisters. And that story always stuck with me, like, oh wow, because it wasn't something that just happened once in a while. It would happen all the time. And these are just random people. He didn't know them, but he was just saw somebody that needed a place to stay, immediately would be the one that, nope, you're coming with me, and he'd come, he'd have his wife cook him a nice hot meal. And I would always get the stories from my mom how his wife, my grandmother, would get upset because he comes in at like 2 in the morning from the coffee house. He just gets this random stranger. He's waking up the kids, getting them out of bed.
Take care, honey.
You out of bed? Hi, hey, Ella, come here. Make him some food. Give him some of this and that. Blah, blah, blah. Wash his clothes. All this, And yeah, it just always kind of was like, well, that's really cool. I mean, it stinks for his wife who has to get up and do all this stuff, but they always instilled that sense of be hospitable to people, help people that are in need, and if you have something that you can help somebody with that needs help, do it. Don't question it, just do it. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're in a position to help, no matter how small it is, to do it. And that always just kind of stuck with me. I just thought it was really cool.
So that reminded me of something that actually just happened to us this week. And I don't want to say the person involved, but it was just a friend of ours needed something, we're like, oh yeah, absolutely, we'd love to help. But then his wife commented after, like, well, thank you so much, because people say they'll help, but then they don't, or they don't really want to.
Or they don't mean it.
Yeah, they don't mean it. And it was like, why on earth would you offer to help somebody and not mean it? Like, it just, I don't understand that, but I guess people do that.
Yeah, it happens all the time, of course. But yeah, what are you gonna do? I always say to our children, say what you mean and mean what you say. And I don't just say it to my kids; I live it. If I say, yeah, I'll help you out, or if you need anything, let me know. It's because I mean it. You know, there's many times where I have dropped whatever I'm doing to go and help a friend that needed it.
Yeah.
Because I know that they're asking because they really need it. Especially like friends, like my friends, a lot of my really close friends, they're all a lot like me. We don't ask for help. We're very prideful. We like to do things on our own. So if my buddies are getting a call from me, they know this is serious, like he needs it. And same thing, if I get a call from one of my friends or a text or something, hey, can you help me out with this? Or can you... Absolutely. I don't even, unless I'm out of the country or I'm not at home or really unable to,
Well,
it's getting done. It's happening.
oh, absolutely. And it's funny because I thought about like friends who, like I had a couple of friends, they rented a house. And I think I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and it was up in New Hampshire. I forget the town, but it was probably like maybe another 20 minutes from where we are right now. So like north, sort of. I can't remember the town. Anyway, so I had like a 45-minute to an hour drive to get there. But we all worked together, and they asked everybody, can you come on Saturday morning? We'll buy breakfast for everyone. If you can please come and help us paint, the more people will get done faster. Of course, I say, absolutely. You need help? I'm available. I'll be there. And other people said, yeah, I can help. I was the only person who shouldn't. And I just remember thinking, like, what the hell? Like, there were other people who said they were coming. What changed? And of course, something comes up, but...
Did it really, though? Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, that's just, unfortunately, that's just how people are now. Or I shouldn't say people, all people, because there are still a lot of people that will help you out. Just real quick, I want to clarify too the story about my grandfather and my grandmother. My grandfather and my grandmother adored each other. Even though he would have her get up and do that kind of stuff, she also would say to be like that. Obviously, she'd be upset at the moment because she's being woken up out of a slumber, but she would always be kind to the stranger. She would always help him, give him a nice hot meal. And it quickly became like kind of, not legend, but it would be kind of the thing. Like you knew if you were going here and you were from out of town, you knew you'd have a place to stay because that was like the reputation of my grandfather. So he wasn't a chauvinist or anything like. Maybe he was.
Get in the kitchen and cook some dinner.
But that was just kind of what was done. That's how it was back then.
But the thing is, like, if you did that, if you're like, this is so and so, they need a place to stay, can you cook? And like, you're waking me up in the middle of the night, I'm supposed to be like, what? But I would totally do it. Like,
sure, yeah.
You know me, I'd be like, I'll cook. What do you want?
I get to cook.
I make lamb.
So yeah, I thought that was just kind of a cool story that I think definitely had an effect on me because, like I said, I used to hear those all the time when I was growing up as a kid, and I always just thought it was the coolest thing. And I was like, yeah, why would you do that? That makes sense. Be nice to people, especially if they need help and they're asking for it, or even if they're not asking for it. But you can just tell, hey, I could help
Somebody
here.
needs help.
Somebody needs a hand. I could do that. Why not do it?
I used to get, I don't know if lectured is the right word, but I would have friends who used to like give me a hard time because I just go, I'll talk to anybody. And people come up to me, okay, I'll talk to you. And I've been in places where people who seem kind of sketchy, I guess, according to the other people, they come up and talk to me and they'd be like, why are you talking to them? Especially guys, like if I was with other guys. And they'd be like, why are you talking to them? Like they could do something, like they could hurt you or whatever. And it's like, dude, they're just people. Like, cares? They're being nice. Who cares? I think everyone's in this, I might get hurt if I open myself up to somebody. And it's like, and this was back in like the late 90s and early 2000s, this would happen.
Fear. It's so toxic.
Don't be afraid to be nice. Don't be afraid to be kind. Don't be afraid to do good things.
Exactly. I just got the hiccups like really bad. I'm not editing it out either. I'm just gonna leave it right in there.
There you
It's just
go.
raw, baby. Totally raw. Yeah, no, random acts of kindness. You know what? This is gonna sound so ridiculous to some people, and to others it's gonna be just, obviously common sense. Putting your shopping cart away in the corral when you go grocery shopping. If you are one of those people that just takes it and puts it wherever, or just leaves it in the middle of your parking spot, come on. What's wrong with you?
Throw it into another car.
What's wrong with you? Is it that much of a big deal, or is there that much effort required and involved to take it and just walk it an extra 10 or 15 feet away from you to put it away? I mean, come on. Come on. Seriously.
Well, I think an argument is people get paid to collect them, but they
get paid to collect them from the corrals where they're supposed to be put.
We both worked in supermarkets. We've both done it. But yeah, like that's a big thing. And I'm a little OCD where I don't want to just put it in the corral. I want to like fix all the carts so they're even. So like this, like the little mini carts where it's like a half. Like I like those to go together, and then like the bigger ones.
Yeah, you take it a step further and go and organize the corral and make sure everything's nice and neat. And I'm like, well, I thought I was OCD. I got nothing on her. Jeez.
It's really hard stopping myself sometimes when like time is of the essence, but I feel like I need to fix this. I want to make it nice and neat for them.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, why are you such a jerk? Because that's what I will. I'll see it and I'll just be like, and it's always, and anytime I see it happen, if I watch somebody like from the car, or if I'm walking and I just see somebody take the car and go, toss it off to the side and I'm just like, you're an able-bodied person. 9 times out of 10, it's not an elderly person. It's somebody that looks healthy, has 2 legs, can walk just fine. No, just toss it off to the side. And I'm just like, why?
I've seen people leave carts like behind somebody else's car.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
That's being a jerk.
That's just being a jerk. It's one thing you want to just push it off and keep it kind of off. Okay, fine. You don't want to make the trip. It's busy. Whatever your excuse is, maybe I'll give you a pass. I still think it's ridiculous, but maybe I'll give you a pass. But when you intentionally leave it behind the car next to you because there's not enough room in between the cars, that's just ridiculous.
So wrong.
It's just absurd.
Don't be like that.
Don't be a jerk. Be kind.
Mm-hmm.
Put your cart away. That's what I'm going to name this episode. Put your shopping cart away.
Oh, I thought we could name it You Don't Have to Be Cruel to Be Kind. Does you know the song?
We'll name it that instead. That's a better title. Fine.
Yeah, I have that song in my head.
You got any other random acts of kindness stories that you'd like to share? Something that you did for somebody. Did I share anything that I've done for somebody?
What have you done? No.
I don't know. Now I've got to think about it. Because I do so much, see.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, something needs to be done and do it.
It's not one of those, that's why I said I feel kind of weird talking about something that maybe we've done because it's kind of like, I don't want to sound like
I offered to help somebody, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it might have been the day before. I was walking and our neighbors left stuff out on the side of the road, like to take, like free if you want it stuff.
Yeah.
And one was like, the stationary bikes, so it has like the little fan gimmick in the front and you pedal. It was one of those, and a woman was trying to put it in her car. So I come back from my walk, I come around a corner, and I'm like, I'm going to offer to help. I hope she doesn't freak out thinking I'm some weirdo. So I was just like, hi, do you need help getting that in your trunk? Because she looked like she was struggling. But then she was like, oh no, I think I have it. And I was like, okay. But the whole time though, I'm like, I hope she doesn't think I'm weird. And then I'm like offering to help, and I'm like, I'm not 6 feet away. Is she gonna freak out because she doesn't want to get COVID from me or something? But the whole time I'm like, I just want to help. Please don't think I'm weird. Like, isn't it something you have to worry about, like people thinking you're weird? You just want to help?
I don't know why you worry about it. I don't worry about that stuff. But okay, I guess if you think it's something to worry about.
I think I've seen too many movies where like someone tries to do something nice and they panic. They're like, ah.
I'm sorry, but I think the whole COVID thing now has been smashed since the same people that are telling you to stay inside are not telling you to go out and protest. So I think that whole theory's, that whole storyline's been quashed.
Well, you know my feelings on that with the whole mask thing. It's like, oh, it's safe to, you know, like certain places, like, oh, COVID won't get you here, but it'll get you here kind of thing. So, whatever. Anyway, not going on that because we're talking about kindness.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kindness.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to explain anything that I do because I don't. We didn't do this show to toot our own horn or glorify any kindness we may have done for people because it's not what this is about. But essentially, we just wanted to do a show just talking about cool stuff and nice things that we've heard of and that we've maybe witnessed or experienced ourselves. Just to kind of give a reprieve from all the BS that's going on out there in the world today.
Hopefully it just inspires people to know that it's okay to be kind and nice. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. It's funny, the last, like I said, we're recording this on June 7th. The last week and a half has been just utter chaos everywhere. It's all you see and hear about, right? Any interaction I have had with anybody, be it the mailman, UPS guy, Amazon guy, people in the grocery store, people walking around the neighborhood, people walking around the cemetery where we like to take our walks, anywhere I've been, the gas station, doesn't matter where I've been. You would not know that anything was going on. Everybody has been so friendly, polite, smiles everywhere. People, it's almost like people are picking up on the fact that everybody's saying you got to be upset and angry and this and that, and are just kind of going the opposite direction.
You can be upset and angry about stuff and still do good things.
Yeah, it's almost like there's like a shift kind of going the other way. Like it's been amazing to me just how many positive interactions I've had with people, more so than normal. And it's been in like this last week and a half. I don't know if it's just because I've been more in tune to it, and I've been more observant of it or something, or I don't know. But it's incredible to me, and I don't know, I find that encouraging because I think that the stuff that we see on the media, I think it doesn't paint an accurate picture of what's really going on in the world and what the majority of people are really feeling. And I'm not talking about politics or social issues. I just mean, I think 99% of people out there, and that's a conservative estimate in my view, are very much like us, just want to live their lives, live and let live. Nobody hates anybody. Nobody's got animosity toward it. The majority of people feel that way. So to see all these things that you're seeing now that are coming out, I just really hope that a lot of decent people out there, all the decent people out there, remain decent and don't allow this kind of stuff to faze them and make them change or kind of curl up and go in their shell and try to be maybe a little less forthcoming of their niceness because of fear of being ridiculed or called out for some ridiculousness.
Yeah. Just be a good person.
Just be
kind to everyone.
Person. Yeah, just be a good person because why wouldn't you be? What, you know?
I feel like it's harder to be mean to people.
It takes effort to be a jerk.
I feel like it does. I don't like being mean to people.
It really does.
Like you have to do like serious wrong for me to be mean to you.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to smile. It doesn't cost you anything to wave to somebody. It doesn't cost you anything to hold the door for somebody that maybe needs it. Maybe even if they don't need it.
Just do it.
Just do it. It doesn't cost anything.
So remember, smiles are free.
Right. Exactly.
And
you have a great smile like my wife does. Why wouldn't you flash it all the time?
Aww. I remember, hugs are free. Screw COVID. Somebody needs a hug. Give them a hug.
Screw COVID. I think most people now realize COVID was a bit overblown by design. I'm pretty sure the majority of people now have figured out the scam behind COVID.
Think about hugs. Like when you hug somebody, like you truly hug them with your soul and your heart. It's like, I think people really feel that, and like just your energy, like it helps transfer your energy to them. And I think hugs are really important. So you see somebody who needs a hug, give a hug.
Sure. If you see my wife, don't hug her though, 'cause I'll knock you out.
No.
What?
No.
No?
I will give
No.
hugs. I'm a hugger.
Okay, she'll give you a hug.
I love hugging people.
Fine.
You know how I am. Like,
I know, I'm just
I
just
did I ever
kidding.
share the show when I was a little
Who
kid?
am I gonna knock out now? Come on, I'm just teasing. I'm kidding.
You have me do your dirty work for
That's
you.
right. Say, if you hug my wife, she'll knock you
Did I
out.
ever mention before how, like, when I was a little kid, I used to hug everybody. I
Yes,
hugged my
you
teachers, my bus drivers, and my parents would tell me, like, Monique, you have to stop hugging everybody.
Well, our kids now are you. They got that from you because that's all they do.
Good.
It is. Our 6-year-old, literally, and I told him this yesterday, every day for him is the best day ever because everything he does is the best thing ever. Every TV show he watches, that was the best TV show ever. Every movie, that was the best movie ever. That was the best sandwich I ever ate. You're the best daddy ever. You're the best mama ever. This is the best toy ever. This is the best book ever. Everything's the best thing ever. So I always tell him, you're like the luckiest person alive because everything and every day is the best ever. Every day for you gets better than the last. It's great. It must be great to be you. So you can learn a lot from kids. You can learn a lot from little kids especially because they are yet to be tainted by the ills of the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah.
So, do you have anything else you want to share?
I just want to say that be kind randomly, be kind when people need it. And I'm not saying, like, be kind, like, you have to do this. Because I know I hate people telling me what to do.
We've already settled this.
But just embrace your inner positivity. Embrace your inner... What? Why are you
Nothing.
looking at me like I'm crazy?
No, just go ahead. Carry on.
Open your heart chakra and just do good things. Love everyone. Be nice. Even if you think they don't deserve it, just let the universe take care of it and you be good to everyone.
And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on social media. We have a Twitter account,
At Homewrecker Pod.
Instagram,
Homewrecker Podcast.
or you can go to our website.
Homewreckerpodcast.com.
And you can watch these podcasts completely uncut and unedited. You can stare and Google at my beautiful wife and observe some of the goofy faces I make once in a while she's talking over on youtube.com and Brighteon.com. Support Brighteon if you believe in free speech because they will not censor, regardless of what you think or believe in or what you say, within reason, of course. We don't want to be fomenting violence or dissent on that platform or anything like that. But anyway, if you haven't already, please go on over to iTunes and hit the subscribe button or wherever it is you listen to podcasts. That way you can get our podcast delivered to you every week. And if we do a bonus, you'll get that one too.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, 5-star review. 5's the magic number. We appreciate it. Helps us to grow the show. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah. Thank you to, let's see, there's a lot of downloads from Sweden. So if you're in Sweden, thank
Hello,
you.
our Swiss brothers and sisters.
Sweden.
Swiss? Swiss is what?
Switzerland.
Son of a gun. See? This is why I don't do this myself. So, Sweden is Swedish.
Yes.
Swiss is Switzerland.
Yes.
I stink. Sorry about that. All those downloads are gone now. This guy's an
I'm
idiot.
so sorry.
He doesn't know what he's saying. It doesn't matter. They don't listen for me. They listen for you, so it's okay.
No. But yeah, we have England, Sweden, Australia, Canada, Greece. We got some Greek listeners. Opa!
Of course. About
Yeah.
time.
Let's see. We have Thailand, Australia, New Zealand. I'm trying to think of the map.
We're worldwide, baby.
Yeah. So just all of our international
Shout out
listeners.
to everybody.
Thank you.
Internationally. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And obviously everybody here in the States,
Yes.
too. Everybody that listens. We really appreciate the support. We hope that we provide you some escape, some entertainment, some deep thoughts once in a while, hopefully.
Yes.
And
remember, everyone, you are loved and you matter.
yeah, and we hope that wherever you are safe, healthy, and most importantly of all, doing whatever you can to be happy.
Yeah.
So until next time, I'm the Golden Greek. Alex Arion, that's me, right here. And I've been joined as always by my beautiful, radiant, gorgeous, amazing, fantastic, fabulous, spectacular trophy wife, the lovely Monique.
Thank you. And you've been listening to the Homewrecker Podcast.
I'm still recording. I'm just going to let you know that we just did this whole positive episode, like talking about positivity and random act of kindness and stuff. And all of a sudden, as I'm fading up the music, it's this like dark, dark music. So I figured I just wanted to include that on the recording here. For anybody that stayed after the music.
I was thinking we should probably change the music, and I forgot to say something.
I realize how absurd it may be. So, yeah.
I think we need some happier, peppy more music.
Fair. We're just going to kick in and keep on talking right after it.
Tremendous.
So, anyhow, everybody, we'll catch you next time.